Like, and people talk about that a lot. They say, straight men suddenly understand consent 100% perfectly when gay men are making advances at them. Suddenly they understand, no, you're not allowed to touch me here. You're not allowed to make me feel this way. You're not allowed, like, my no is important. Suddenly they become professionals in that matter, but they can't really navigate how to act that way towards women. And, there's so many wonderful men who I think do practice these things and do these things, but
4, 3, 2, 1. Nature, INGER. What's up, mommy?
I'm good, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm okay, I'm a little nervous.
You're a little nervous? Dude, house when international supermodel. Kari, just imagine what it means for
I'd be nervous then too.
Nah. I've won international titles, bro. Like, I know this is not, you stop pretending, bro.
No, it's good to be nervous. I feel like it means that you care about what you're doing. So I am always nervous before I get on stage or before I do anything. Yeah.
So how have you been? How are you coping? How's life?
I'm surviving, but I'm not thriving. But that's okay because I will one day. So that's just the season that I'm in right now.
Yeah. How's the season go? Like, how is it treating you?
Like, I think it's a sowing season, so I'd be lying if I said like, oh, I'm super happy, I'm having the time of my life, everything's going according to plan. No, it would be a lie. But I'm working through it, I'm dealing with stuff, I'm trying to better myself, I'm working on myself, I'm transitioning into the career path that I envision myself being in forever. Like, I'm working hard.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of career transitioning, I was surprised when I was reading the newspapers last week. Like on the full page, I'm saying, she's about to go maybe for another show, like an international modeling gig. And then when I read through, you're now doing like NGO related stuff, work.
Yeah. I haven't even seen that.
Yeah. Big bro, like you're more than a celebrity now.
It's so funny. I've never felt like I'm a celebrity. Yeah.
Because you don't do combis anymore, maybe.
100%, I do not do combis anymore.
No, for people who are wondering, I was telling you that the last time I saw her, she was in a competition. She doesn't remember when was that.
Yeah, that's how long it's been. And I think you said it's like when we were in university.
Around 2012, 2018.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and literally, I think the last time I was in a combi was the year that I graduated university.
Yeah, that's how old we are.
Yeah. I don't know about you. That was like yesterday. That was a year ago.
No,
I'm young. They do though. I think like, guys, I feel like I've reached MILF age or something. Young men are always hitting on me.
It's every young man's dream to have a MILF.
Wow, but guys, I'm too young to be a MILF. Like, how has this happened to me?
Yeah, they want to feel like, but the experience.
Wowzers, that makes me feel old.
Nah, you're not old. No, let's get straight into business. King, create consent culture. Tell us about that. That's your new gig, right?
Yeah. So create consent culture is my latest project. I'm super excited to be working on it. It's fully funded and supported by the US Embassy. And it's an outreach program for pre-primary and primary school children, basically teaching the fundamentals of consent, what consent is, how to practice consent, how to teach people how to respect your personal boundaries, but also how to react when people teach you how to respect their personal boundaries. So it's super cool. And it's fun. It's been so much fun, and I think it's really, really important in Botswana, especially looking at the alarming statistics of GBV and everything that we have going on. It's super important to start off with the kids and get them right. Okay,
I like that you're starting with kids, because for us adults, we don't even know what the word consent means. What is consent nature?
Consent means respecting somebody's yes and respecting somebody's no in the simplest, the simplest terms, but consent is ongoing, which means that it can be withdrawn at any time. The closest word to consent that I can always think of is permission. So it's just wondering, do you have permission to touch someone, to hug someone, to hold someone, to engage with someone in any way, shape or form, and understanding that even if that person says yes you can now, if in 5 or 10 or 15 minutes they're not in the mood anymore and they say I've changed my mind, they've withdrawn their consent and you no longer have it. So I just think it's not enough anymore to go with the no means no culture. It is true, no does mean no, and that's an important lesson, but there's lots of other things that also mean no. If someone is too drunk to make an informed decision, then that also means no. If someone seems too nervous or they're just not responding at all, or you're uncertain, then you should also take that as a no.
I like the fact that you bring up the drunk conversation, because we have a lot of sexual abuse issues whereby me and you, we go out for drinks, our friends, or let's say we're even dating. We go home after that, having a couple of drinks, and the next thing, we start kissing, you say no. I'm like, come on, I start touching you, you say no, and the next thing I penetrate, I'm inside you. And then you go and report me at the cops. I'm like, no, 1 hour with this lady, she's my girlfriend, and then we did what we always do. And when I respond saying no, you said no, you didn't give me permission. But now I'm still standing strong by saying no, this is my girlfriend, she's my woman. So is there a consent in such an agreement?
Yeah, I think what you just described is rape. And there's no if, but, maybe, blurred lines about what that is. It's rape. And nobody owns anybody. So whether that person is your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, you can still rape them because you do not have the right to use their body whenever you see fit or whenever you're in the mood. Sex has to be consensual between two people. Two people have to be engaged and excited to take part in sexual activities. If one of those people is not excited, not in the mood, not engaged, then it's rape.
Because it's a good thing that you're teaching kids, but I feel like there's a gap between kids and adults, because adults are the ones who they're never senior all the time. They don't know what consent means. They don't know what no means. With a lot of women, especially in marriages, who are always being raped by their husbands. Yeah, because of that consent issue. I feel like as men, maybe we are not, is it mentorship? We don't go under such mentorship from our fathers or uncles and stuff. Or is it being careless? Are we irresponsible to the extent that we don't appreciate it when someone says, I can't give you the cake tonight?
I think that it can be both, and both of those things can really exist in the same space. It's a very complicated issue because there's so many aspects that need to be addressed in order to properly address it. You know, laws and policy needs to be fixed and amended. And recently, Botswana did actually make it, you know, illegal to rape your spouse. So thankfully, at least there's protection in that area. But yeah, there's parts of our culture that we need to look back at and edit and figure out how to make it align with, you know, full fairness and equality. And beyond just culture, there's so many social aspects, things that are socially acceptable that shouldn't be. There's, you know, just trends. There's so many different aspects that need to be taught and need to be understood. In terms of men, I do think that there is, you know, a real gap in terms of teaching and education and empowerment and all these things. You know, I always talk about how Botswana's favorite way to deal with GBV issues is women empowerment, which I just find ridiculous because a rapist does not care if you're empowered or not. He's not going to say, sorry, you're empowered. Like, that's not going to happen. Women can empower themselves as much as we want to, but until men can respect us and work with us and collaborate with us, it doesn't help much for us to be empowered. So I wish that there was more unity between men and women in Botswana. I wish that there was better communication. I wish that the solution didn't always end up seeming like a war between the genders and a fight between the genders, because we're now living in a space where people are getting very defensive and it's just becoming more and more difficult to address. So while I am working with kids now, doing the Create Consent Culture program that's funded by the US Embassy. I do have programs where I work with adults. I have an amazing self-defense program with my team at Happy Human Productions in collaboration with AWA Gymnasium. And that's something else that hasn't really been taught well, you know. Growing up, professionals would tell you to just, you know, be lenient and take it, because if you fight back, the person might kill you.
Yeah.
But through my research and my learnings, I've actually learned that you have about an 80% chance of deterring being raped or assaulted if you fight back and if you can defend yourself for at least 5 to 10 minutes, because the person will realize this is too much trouble. Someone might come, I might get caught, and they'll be deterred and run away. So there's so many different things that I would love to work on.
Really. Are you mentoring boys also? Because my concern is on the boys.
I'm not mentoring boys yet, but it is something that I would want to do. So really in the future, if I get really the support and the funding that I hope that I will get, I would like to see myself doing the Create Consent Culture program, but really running it amongst all schools nationally, doing the self-defense program and teaching them, doing perpetrator rehabilitation, not just in prisons, but in our local communities and our khutlas, and that would be working mainly with men, but of course those are men that have already committed a crime. So, you know, doing first responder training. So for nurses, paramedics, police officers, people who are first on site when somebody comes to report, you know, something that has gone wrong. And yes, I would really love to work with men and boys, but I would love to build a strong team of men to do that with and through. And I think that there needs to be great collaboration in that space. And also press and media training. We really need to change the narrative in terms of how we speak about these issues and where we place the blame, and, you know, so many different things.
So the reason why I'm talking about boys, I feel like boys are neglected when it comes to such matters, because that's why I'm not that I'm supporting the actions that men do. Like, we're not ever collapsed until he becomes a man. He doesn't know how to talk to a woman. He doesn't know how to ask for how to make love, like permission to make love to a woman. The next thing, pushes you on the bed, pulls up your pants. The next thing is inside. Yeah. So I feel like the boy child is being neglected, and it's a good thing when people like you, because also there's an issue about like Cherry boy, I don't know if this guy penetrated me forcefully, and then I get it's people talking, and then there's also another debate whereby men be like, there are times whereby women come to us, they start touching us, like gluing us to make love, but she didn't ask for permission for consent. Do women have to ask for permission to sleep with a man?
Yeah, you see, that's what I find so interesting about what you've just said, is the narrative that men are neglected. I think that men definitely need to be involved and engaged in way more, and need to become really, actually, they need to be at the forefront of this movement, because the reality is most perpetrators are men. So even though men can be raped and assaulted, the reality is that men are actually raped and assaulted by men more than they are by women. Women can 100% be perpetrators. Anybody of any gender or race or social class can be a perpetrator. But the reality is, statistically, it is usually men who do it. I don't believe that men who do it don't know that they're doing something wrong. And it's like you just said, if men can tell when they are receiving advances that they don't like and that they don't appreciate, then that shows that they can actually tell the difference between wanted sexual advances and unwanted sexual advances. So they should be able to implement that in their own, you know, interactions with people. Yeah.
So have you guys already started like rolling out the project?
CCC?
Yeah.
Yes, so Create Consent Culture has already began. We started visiting pre-primary and primary schools last month. And also just getting, you know, the press and the media involved. Like you were saying, you saw newspaper articles. I haven't even seen them yet. I'm going to go out and look for them now.
Your media team's not doing a good job. They should be giving those those newspapers to read?
Well, I think they're doing a great job because they're the reason I'm in those newspaper articles. But I guess I'm just so busy that, you know, I haven't had time to really look at them and see them and engage with them, which is fine. I think as long as the message is getting out there and people are seeing what we're doing and we're receiving support and offers of collaboration, then that's great. And I really do appreciate my team. It's a very big project and we're a very small team, so everyone is really working overtime and going above and beyond.
Yeah, and big up to the US Embassy for coming like to support you guys on this project.
Definitely.
So how does one get to be part of this project?
So this project really is, again, like I said, a primary and pre-primary school outreach program. So if you are you know, related to a school in any way, shape or form, if you're a teacher or a principal, you own a school, or you're a parent whose child goes to a school and you would like us to come and visit, you would then get in touch with our team and we'll be happy to schedule you in for next year when schools reopen again. We are targeting both private and government schools, and we are looking for other collaborators as well. So obviously anybody from press and media that would like to give us coverage. If there's anyone that would like to offer free services, we deal with so many people that need therapy, for example, and counseling. People who are able to offer extra support to teachers and guidance counselors who are having to listen to these children's issues and really help to guide them. We will be going on a national tour as well. So anybody that's able to help in that capacity would be amazing. Really, you just look at the project, and if you think to yourself, you know what, I have something to offer here, I can help, I can play a role, then please get in touch with us.
All right. So I made a mistake. We spoke about sex a lot. People end up thinking they really have sex. So with consent, like we just give us other scenarios whereby someone is to seek for consent from you, because the common like factor is sex, but you are the professional. You can just like quickly run through already, so that kids also are watching, even adults, they'll be knowing or no, I have the right to say yes or no on this one.
So honestly, you always need to ask for consent for absolutely anything and everything. That is the safest bet. Yes, obviously when you learn someone and you get to know them really well, and maybe you can read their body language and they tell you as well, like, oh, if I'm acting like this, yes, I want it. Sure, then there's maybe situations where you feel comfortable enough with someone that you can trust your instincts on that. But definitely be sure and make sure that you are 100% sure. A super easy example that I like to use is making somebody a cup of tea. If someone comes over to your house and you say, hey, would you like a cup of tea? If they say no, thank you, why would you make them a cup of tea if they don't want it? If they say yes, please, then you go and make them a cup of tea. But if you come back and the person is asleep, why would you shove a cup of hot tea down their throat while they're asleep? They're literally sleeping. They obviously don't want it anymore, even though they haven't said that they don't want it anymore. And if you come back and maybe they're awake, but they say, actually, I don't feel good anymore, so I don't really want the tea, my stomach hurts. Why would you force them to drink the tea? They don't want it anymore. So sometimes really looking at very simple analogies, and I didn't make up that analogy, by the way. It's quite a famous one that you can look up online, and there's a great video that you can YouTube and watch. But thinking about things in a simpler context like that really helps you to understand and think about it. So think of sex in the same way. If you ask someone and they say no, don't do it. If they say yes, you can go ahead. If halfway through they fall asleep or they tell you, stop, I don't want this anymore, then simply stop, and that's it.
So you're saying that, let's say me and my niece is engaging in coitus. Halfway when I'm about to arrive to the promised land, and she tells me to stop, I'm supposed to stop.
100%. If she tells you to stop, you need to stop. And I know for a fact that you know how to get yourself to the promised land. So if she tells you to stop, just stop and walk yourself to the promised land.
Until I get there.
Until you get there.
Alright, I guess the chance of listening. I guess the chance of listening, because we don't want like such cases, like because you end up getting confused also, like is someone who's listening to what's going on, because we want kids also to understand this as they grow up before they even like get any sexual experiences.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I think honestly, just looking at it from the point of view that I could potentially hurt someone, or being open to the fact that maybe you already have, I think it's very difficult because nobody wants to feel like they're a bad person or they're an evil person and so people tend to get extremely defensive when we talk about these things because you know, when you know better, you do better. But until you do, you know, maybe we've all been in situations where we kissed someone without asking them, or someone was drunk and they seemed enthusiastic and we couldn't tell the difference, so we went ahead and did it anyway. Or, you know, we've all kind of done these things that now we're completely in regret of. And I've had experiences like this where people have spoken to me and been like, so are you saying I'm a rapist because of this situation? Or me and my girlfriend, this happened, and so now you're saying I'm a rapist. And so now, and I think it's creating a barrier where people are scared really to engage in these conversations because they don't want to feel like, well, I've done these horrible things and this is who I am. And that is a difficult place to be. But I think that if we can all open up to the possibility that perhaps knowingly or unknowingly we have hurt people in this way, it can create an environment that feels a bit more safe for us to explore these concepts.
Okay. It's well understood. It's well understood. Because also there's this thing like in Gaborone, like there's hugging, like when we greet each other, like we hug.
Yeah.
And then when I imagine that, even if cheers like I find it awkward for someone to hug a stranger that they don't know. Yeah, and then
definitely
for women, they're scared to tell these guys no scanswaro.
Yeah.
What do you say to the lady who she's being forcefully hugged? Like, how can that be stopped?
Honestly, nobody should accept, or not accept, but nobody should be touched in any way that they don't want to be touched. And that's the important thing, to know that we belong to ourselves, and to also appreciate the fact that people belong to themselves. And it's so difficult, and I think a lot of people act like they don't understand these concepts. But you know, an example I like to use, you know, a lot of men do this thing when they're walking past, maybe in a very crowded room, and they're walking past a woman, they always put their hand on her lower back to squeeze past her. And if you talk to them about it or you confront them, they'll be like, no, there was no space, I was just gently trying to move you out the way. But if it's a man that's in front of them, they'll never place their hand on a man's lower back to squeeze past him. Why is it that you somehow magically know how to navigate past men, but when it's women, you have to touch them in order to make your way through them? So I think sometimes we need to just take a hard look at ourselves and think about these things. We know that a lot of times we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. It's just such a social norm that we think it's okay. And
these are the same men whereby if a man does that shit to them, hey,
absolutely,
or like fight.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, people talk about that a lot. They say, you know, straight men suddenly understand consent 100% perfectly when gay men are making advances at them. Suddenly they understand, no, you're not allowed to touch me here. You're not allowed to make me feel this way. You're not allowed, like, my no is important. Suddenly they become professionals in that matter, but they can't really navigate how to act that way towards women. And, you know, there's so many wonderful men who I think do practice these things and do these things, but I don't think that there's enough community, and as you were saying, male engagement, where I don't think that men are talking to each other enough about these things. I don't think that, for example, when guys see their friend acting in a way that is wrong, that they actually call him out and say, yo, don't talk to her that way, don't touch a woman this way, don't whatever. There's just too much leniency in our communities where people aren't, you know, being a part of the community and sticking up for people and standing up for people.
Okay. All right, so someone was asking me guy earlier on, and I told them that I'm going to meet up with Danger. They thought that I'm taking out for a date, but I was like, no. And then I explained, no, we're going to do an interview, this is what we're going to be talking about. And they asked, does it mean that nature is no longer a model? Is she now like an advocate here? So I guess you can give them a response.
Yeah, I am no longer a model, but it's not a new or recent thing. I think it's been about 4 or 5 years since I stopped modeling. Yeah. So in 2020, when COVID happened, I had to leave South Africa, where I was signed to the modeling agency there, and I had to leave because COVID was happening. My visa had run out. I couldn't. What's the word? I couldn't get an extension on my visa because all the government offices were closed, and so I had to come back home. And during COVID, we all thought, "Okay, 1 month, 2 months, get but obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, I think I just really moved on to other interests and other things, and I've never been just a model anyway. I'm always someone that's doing 10, 20 different things at once. So it was pretty easy to just navigate and find a new space, and I'm enjoying that now. So modeling is definitely a thing of the past.
Okay, I thought it was a calling which was going to stay forever. Apart from you being on the runway or in front of the camera, like maybe mentorship of young girls and stuff like that. Because we need you in this industry, bro.
I mean, I don't even think that modeling was ever a calling, and that's the funny thing. Like I never grew up thinking I want to be a model, I want to walk runways around the world. It was never a huge passion for me. I always loved fashion. I always loved clothes. My mom was a tailor growing up, and I'd go to fabric stores with her and shop stuff, and she'd make me stuff, and I loved it and I enjoyed it. But the modeling just happened kind of by accident, and I fell into it at 11 years old, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can make money doing this. This is so cool. I can make my own money, and I've always loved making money. I just did it and kept doing it, but it was never something that I envisioned I would do for the rest of my life, or a huge dream or goal for me. That just wasn't how it was. I loved it. I appreciated it. It opened so many doors for me. I got to travel. I got to meet incredible people. But yeah, that's about it.
That's nature's blueprint. Everyone knows you as a model.
I think so.
It even overshadowed your music career at some point.
I was?
It even overshadowed your music career at some point.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't even think it overshadowed my music career. I barely had a music career, really. I think, like I said, I started modeling when I was 11, and I did that into my 20s. So that was the first and main thing that I ever did. I released a couple of songs. I wrote songs. I did stuff. I wouldn't even say that I did music long enough or in a serious enough way for it to count as a career. Yeah,
at some point you're sort of like an actor. Maybe you made a cameo on a short film.
Yeah.
Some years ago.
Yeah. I would still love to act, actually. I think that I would act. I've acted in a couple of things, and it's fun. I'm still definitely the person that does 10 or 20 different things, and I think that will always be me. I don't really see myself ever settling into just one thing or one career path. I just love to do what inspires me and drives me in the moment and what feels good. You only have one life,
Yeah, that's true. Because you're a very successful model during your time.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh, that's very true, that's very true. Many wonder, why is it that you never contested for Miss Botswana?
I think that there's just a very big difference between modeling and pageantry that people don't really... they're just very different things. And I dabbled a little bit in the pageantry world, and I trained a lot of girls in it, and I was a judge in lots of different pageants. But I myself was never too interested in pageantry. I think my love for modeling came from the fact that I got to be the canvas on which somebody else's art was displayed. You know what I mean? So it's for me, it was a celebration of these incredible designers creating these beautiful pieces of work, and I just got to wear them and model them and show the world how beautiful and incredible these other people were. That's what it felt like. Whereas pageantry for me feels a bit more main character energy. This is who I am, this is what I do, these are my dreams, these are my aspirations, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just never appealed to me the way that modeling did. So I had no interest really in joining Miss Botswana.
Because if I'm talking about Miss Botswana, at some point there was an issue of colorism.
Yeah.
Which is something that we take lightly, but it's a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I don't remember which year it was, but then you were also eligible to be part of Miss Botswana. And many were wondering that maybe you're scared of being a victim of colorism. Because there was a lot of issues back then where they were saying, smang man kana win le ka gore skin color is of a certain tone and stuff like that. Up to until it went to a level whereby the majority of people wanted a specific model to win because she's of a darker color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been scared of colorism, or I don't think it's ever held me back from doing anything that I want to do, because it is an inevitable part of my life and has been since the day I was born. So there's no point in me shying away and reducing the quality of my life in any way, shape or form because of it. If I wanted to do Miss Botswana, I would have done it regardless of what feedback I would have gotten. And I received that feedback in the different, competitions and things that I did anyway. I remember when I won an international competition, I traveled to Fiji to represent Botswana, and I was crowned Miss World Supermodel, and the government of Botswana posted me on their Facebook page, hey, and there was lots of messages of support, which is where I chose to focus my energy. But most people, like 90% of the comments was like, how Botswana, boela go tswang teng, motho ha se Miss Botswana ke Miss England or Miss America or whatever. And a lot of it was just people basically saying, well, I'm a white girl and I don't deserve to be representing Botswana, and why does the government only send white people to represent us, blah, 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 which is hilarious because the government did not send me to represent them. I just went. I chose to go. But yeah, I think it's something that happens a lot in Botswana and will probably continue to happen for a while. I think it's getting better. I hope it is. But I don't think that it's something that people should let hold them back in any way, shape or form. And it certainly never held me back, and it never will.
But have you ever lost any opportunities because of issues that colorism?
I mean, probably, but I just choose not to focus on it. I've heard, it's rare, especially in our culture, we're quite meek people. So it's rare for someone to look at me and tell me to my face that I'm not giving you this opportunity because like that's really gonna happen. I have heard from the grapevine that you weren't a good option for this because of this, or they wanted to focus on giving like fully black non-mixed people a chance, or like I've heard things. I don't really have any evidence, but I just choose not to focus on it. Genuinely, I just believe if something is meant for me, nobody or nothing can take it from me. Like God has already ordained it for me. That's just the way that it is. So if that happened, maybe that's the reasoning or whatever that was given. But in my mind, it just was not for me in that moment. And God just has something else for me. And I don't want to be a part of anything in this world, like work-wise, relationship-wise, anything-wise, that God does not approve of for me and for my life. So I don't mind if I get skipped over because of my skin color, because of my character, because of anything at all. It's just not for me.
So explain to us, where's Dad from?
Where's my dad from?
Yes.
My dad, if you ask him, he will tell you that he is a Mokwena from Mulapulule. Yes. But my dad is originally from Nottingham, England. That's where he was born. He moved to Botswana in his early 20s. So he's been here now for almost 60 years. And yeah, he is a citizen of Botswana, and he considers himself a Botswana. My mom is from Botswana, so re tswa ko Odi ko gae, and yeah.
Okay. So you're biracial.
Yes, I'm biracial.
So I want us to get deeper into this thing of like race and stuff like that. So there's a word that is normally used. They say colored.
Yeah.
Is it an offending word or it's an okay word?
Colored is definitely an okay word. There's nothing offensive about it. It's just inaccurate. So it's the same way if somebody, to me, that is, if somebody points at me and says, you're green, I'm not going to be offended. Green is my favorite color. There's nothing wrong with being green, but it's just not true. So I'm just going to tell them, no, I'm not, and that's it. Colored people have their own culture. They have their own foundation of who they are, and they deserve for that to be respected, you know?
So who are colored in this instance? Is people with one parent is white, the other one is black? Or is people of mixed races?
No, it's like, it is people of mixed races, but it is a culture and a community that started in South Africa, you know, in Cape Town, when the Dutch and the British invaded and raped and pillaged people. And, you know, they have this whole history that is truly and really theirs and deserves to be theirs. And it's a history that goes down hundreds and hundreds of years. And I feel like they've been so disrespected and neglected in a lot of ways, where their culture has not been respected, or they haven't been seen, or they were forced to choose sides. And you know, that is it. You know, they speak Afrikaans, they have their own types of food, they have their own full-blown culture. And I'm simply not that. I'm mixed race. I'm half British and half Botswana. Those are my cultures. So again, there's nothing wrong with being colored. It's just not who I am or who I identify with. It's the same as calling like an African American Ghanaian. Like, it's not an insult, maybe ancestrally or whatever they are, but like, it's just two completely different groups. Even though they're both black people, there's a difference between race and ethnicity, and these things are just different, you know.
They're different.
Yeah.
But you don't mind being associated with colored?
No, of course not. I mean, I don't mind being associated with any race. I mind being associated with racists and bigots and awful, horrible people. But yeah, I don't mind being associated with any race, as long as, you know, the specific people are good people. Yeah,
because mostly people who are biracial and who are considered as colored, they feel like they are not being catered for, mostly by relevant authorities. They feel like they are the stepchildren of their respective countries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because of their race and ethnicity. How do you view it, like, from your own point of view?
I mean, I don't think that anybody is catered to, really. And I don't want to have any sense of entitlement to anything, and I don't think anybody should have a sense of entitlement to anything. You know, you're born in this world alone, and it's your responsibility to make something of yourself. But having said that, it is frustrating to constantly be told that you are not what you know yourself to be. It's one thing in the community and whatever, like, I don't mind, it doesn't bother me. Every day of my life, walking down the street, hey, look, oh, this, that, cool, whatever. But what is frustrating is, from a legal point of view, certain things, like, you know, as a Botswana, if you're, for me, for example, I was born in Botswana. I've never been anything else. My father was in Botswana when I was born, meaning that I was born to two Botswana citizens, right? But because I walk in and they see that I'm not fully black, every time I walk into a government office is, renounce your citizenship, do this, do, and I don't have another citizenship to renounce. You're assuming because I'm half white that I'm not fully Botswana, but there's a difference between being black and being Botswana. So it is that annoying thing, and I understand if it has to happen once, you know, when you go get your omang for the first time, renounce, sharp. But I think that no matter what color your skin is, whether you're Indian, whether you're Arab, whether you're mixed race, whether you're black, whether you're white, if you walk into a government office and you're holding an omang, you're a Botswana, and the conversation should be done. You can't be asking me to renounce my citizenship and bring my father's birth certificate and this and that every 5 to 10 years when I need to renew something. Because that means that you don't trust your own system. That means that you don't trust that the first time I ever got an omang, the people you hired to do their job and do a background check did not do their job properly. That's what it means. If it's done once, then it should never have to happen again. Like, we shouldn't constantly have to prove that we are Botswana. That's like the thing that I think really frustrates me. But in terms of, you know, people, I don't know, being catered to, I don't need to be catered to.
So you don't see any difference between yourself and any other person who's in Botswana, despite your ethnicity, your race and stuff like that?
No, I mean, we're all different in different ways. Like, our upbringing is different. We have different religions, we have different beliefs, we have different whatever. So of course I see myself as different. I see myself as different to absolutely anyone and everyone. But in terms of who has a right to be a citizen of this country, no, I do not see a difference between me and any other Botswana.
Okay, all right. No, let's get into politically time. All right. I see you have a lot of nice artwork on your body. Just do this.
It's not because I'm trying to hide it. It's because my nails aren't done.
Oh yeah. I see you have a lot of nice artwork there, and the most capturing one is the one on your back.
Yeah.
If you can just turn slightly ease in your chair.
It's gonna sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the story behind the artwork on your body?
This is one of the questions that annoys me the most in life. I don't even want to lie. I get asked this question almost every single day, and the thing is, I just don't want to say. That's the thing. Yeah. What I will say is, it's a poem that I wrote. I wrote this poem when I was 16 years old, 15 or 16, and it's like my conviction in life. It's what I believe. It's the person that I want to be or aspire to be. And so I wrote it on my back because it's the backbone of who I hope I am and who I hope to be for the rest of my life. So that's what it means. And I got it tattooed on my back about 3 years after I wrote it. So when I was like 19. And I don't mind sharing that and saying that, but the thing is, it's for me. It's like it's like a contract that I wrote with myself.
It's an agreement.
Yeah, so I don't mind telling people that, but people are always like, well, what does it say? What's the agreement? What's the contract? Hi guys, contracts are private.
Yeah. They're
private. It's between me and God.
So the reason I was asking, you once shared a story back in the day when university.
Yeah.
I don't remember which artwork of yours that you have. You mentioned that it's dedicated to your late lover.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a tattoo on my finger of my first love's initials. So he was my high school sweetheart. We met when I was like 11. And we were just best friends really from then until like 18. And yeah, he was like really and truly just my best friend. We spoke like every single day, morning and night, just knew everything about each other. It was just that kind of thing. So when we were 18, I think I was 17, he was 18. He was like, when we finish high school, we're gonna get married and we're gonna this, and like he had all these plans. We're gonna get married, we're gonna live in this house, and then I'm gonna buy my mom this house next door so my mom can live next door to us. And he was like, yeah, but like obviously we're like 17, 18, we don't have money. But he was like, so instead of getting married, we'll get like rings on our fingers. So he was like, let's just do it now. And I was like, love you so much, you're insane. No, I'm not getting a tattoo of anything, let alone your initials. But then he passed away, and I thought that it would be just such a beautiful way to commemorate him and keep his memory with me. So I actually did it 5 days after he passed away.
How old were you guys when he passed away?
I was 18 and he was 19.
Okay, do you mind going through like what led to his demise?
You know, I can't really say, and it's more really out of respect for his family and his loved ones that I choose not to share what happened. But I will just say that, you know, it was very difficult. He was in a coma for a while, and it was during the Christmas season. So to this day, Christmas is always a bit difficult for me. And his birthday is also around that time. So I think of it a lot. And then he passed away on New Year's Eve. So, you know, a lot of special days that people love to commemorate are quite difficult for me. Yeah.
Speaking of mourning, like how do you manage mourning? Like how do you take it? How do you accept it?
You know, I don't know. And it's funny too, I think I've lost so many people that somehow I've become like an expert on grief without my knowledge or permission. But I get so many messages from people telling me, you know, I lost this person, or my mom just died, or my brother just died, or my lover just died, and asking me what to do. Like, where do I start? What do I do? How do I heal? And it's actually a lot of pressure because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. Like
an expert in mourning.
Yeah, like I do my best to support.
I think I know the reason why they do so. A few years ago, he lost one of your best friends, Sasa Klass.
Yeah.
She was actually part of the first people to be in this podcast. So I think they adore the way that you carried on, like you're always smiling when you're in public and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that that's like important to note. I've always, and I'm not sure why, but I've always felt a sense of responsibility to community, like to my family, to my friends, to even people that I don't know. I want people to meet me and interact with me and leave feeling like, wow, I feel a bit lighter, or like, oh, like she was nice, she was kind, it's always been important to me. And so I do put on a smile even when I'm going through it, and when I'm struggling, I do smile, and I still try to be really kind to people and leave a positive mark in the world. But it doesn't by any means mean that I'm okay, or I'm not struggling, or it's not hard for me. And I really want people to know that, because I would never want somebody to look at me and think like, wow, she dealt with it so well, I'm doing a bad job at grieving or whatever. And I'm not dealing with it well, I'm not doing a good job, I'm still grieving and struggling to this day. I still cry about it to this day. I just I'm very good at putting a smile on my face and getting stuff done, you know, to the outside world, or in the outside world.
So what was your last moment with Sasa Klass?
My last moment, I don't know if I have a curse on me where every happy holiday or like day that you're supposed to celebrate for me is like tainted by death. I don't know, but the last time that I spent with Sasa was on my birthday. So now like Christmas for me ruined, New Year's for me ruined, my birthday ruined. But Sasa and I had this tradition on our birthdays where if it was my birthday, she'd buy me a bouquet of sunflowers with baby's breath, which was my favorite, and a bottle of Prosecco, and a cake, a specific cake that I like from Woolies. And on her birthday, I would buy her pink roses with baby's breath and champagne, and the specific cake that she liked from Woolies, which was a different one. And then we would kidnap each other. So it was usually a weekday, so maybe she'd be like working or whatever, and I'd just show up and like take her, and we'd go and drink, go and like day drink the whole day and night, and just spend time together. And she'd do the same for me. So on my birthday this time, she came, the usual, like flowers, the Prosecco, the cake, and she wanted to kidnap me. And I was working, I was a production manager at the time on set, and I was just like, girl, I can't leave. For the first time ever, you cannot kidnap me. Like, we're so behind schedule. We need to wrap up this week. I can't go anywhere. And I sat in the car with her, and we sat in the car for about 2 hours. It was like my lunch break. And we just talked and we talked and we laughed, and it was just, it was so good. But yeah, that was the last time that I saw her alive.
Wow. And do you have like those flashbacks every time when you're walking around in places where you guys used to hang around and stuff like that?
Yeah, 100%. There's nowhere in the city that like doesn't make me think of her. You know, that's the thing. It's like when you know someone for that long and they become a part of your life, it's like everything. It could be like a random passage, it could be a tuck shop, it could be whatever. But like I feel her everywhere. Because
you guys were some of the most famous people in school and in the city. Yeah, I miss you too, bro. Like, I miss you too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
she was amazing.
We should continue celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll meet you when we get there.
Definitely. I know she'll be waiting for me with a bottle of Prosecco. No, she's like that. You know, she caters to each person individually.
So let me share a funny story. The last time she came here, it was during lockdown, because now, like, alcohol was not allowed. She was carrying a bottle of gin. I was like, yeah, no, it's okay, but I can't do a connection.
100. She's a plug, always. No, she is always a plug.
Yeah. Let's move on before my eyes starting getting watery. I won't be crying, but just getting watery. So, Khati, where on the streets? Why is a beautiful woman like you single, bro?
How do you know I'm single?
Your fingers are clean. There's no silivera. There's no how.
Good point. Good point. Okay, you caught me. You caught me red-handed.
Yeah.
I'm single.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think hopala anything. I think I just haven't met my person.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have a person, and that's okay too. I don't know. But I just know that I'm not willing to settle. So.
You're not willing to settle for less, or you're not willing to settle?
If you're settling, it's for less. Because anything that is like what you want or up to your standard wouldn't be settling. So, yeah.
So what's the, like, if you want to settle with nature, like what's the eligibility criteria?
I don't have one. I'll just know when I meet them. God will tell me that that's my person.
Yeah. There's this brother of mine, not a brother of mine, but a brother that you were with about 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
I was like, no, the girl is gone and I'm happy.
6, 7 years, that's so long ago. I don't even remember who you're talking about. And it's okay, don't say it. Don't say who. Do not say the name.
You guys even had a production company, film production company.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Yes, correcto.
Yeah. So, I thought that was the one.
Interesting.
So, like, how would you feel when now this is the one? Like, I know you feel it somewhere in your heart. Like, what's the connections that they did young, like the blacking, the lockings, and the algorithms?
Algorithms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I just really want to be with someone who makes me feel safe, someone who really, really respects me, and someone whose like energy doesn't change throughout the time and the duration that we're together. Yeah.
Does the financial aspect matter? Like, class C, class B, class A?
All of them.
All of them.
Why make me choose? No, it does matter, honestly. I'd be lying if I said it didn't matter. We're grown, we're adults, you know what I mean? I want to have a nice home. I want my children to like go to great schools. I want to live a comfortable life. So it definitely matters. I'm not going to be with someone that's not doing anything. I mean, that's not even attractive. I'm attracted to ambition and drive, and you know what it is? I think I need to be with someone that's better than me.
Someone who's better than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to wake up every day and look at someone and be like, wow, like they really inspire me. Like they're so everything. Like they're so intelligent, they're so hard work. I just need to like look at them and be like, I need to step my game up. That's what I need. Otherwise, I will eat them for breakfast.
Yeah, I get you.
And guess that's a breakfast.
What's breakfast? Would you be with someone who's super rich, stinking rich, but they have a stinking attitude, like they'll be mistreating you and stuff like that?
Absolutely not.
But we see a lot of our sisters engaging in such relationships.
Everybody has their needs, their wants, and everybody's entitled to what they want. I can imagine that there's a kind of background or upbringing that you grow up in that would make you tolerate certain behaviors for security and for safety, and I don't judge that in any way, shape, or form. I think that everyone is entitled to what they want, and there is no right or wrong. The only thing that upsets me is when people purposely pair themselves wrong to get what they want. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm spoiled and I'm so open about the fact that I'm spoiled, why would you come and try to unspoil me? Why don't you just go and find a girl who is not spoiled at all and she's comfortable doing, 50-50 and this and that? Like, just, it doesn't make sense, because there's so many people who are like that. I think that there's a match for everyone, but I just think people often aren't looking in the right places. People are trying to convince people. And I just don't think, you don't convince someone to be with you or to love you. Like, it just happens naturally and organically.
So for you, it's not about money?
It's not about money, but there has to be money. I'm not going to be broke. I'm not going to struggle with anyone. I'm not going to build with anyone from the ground up. Like, there has to be money. Money is important to me. I want to make that clear. But it's not about money. I would never date someone just for money. I would never be with someone that I don't genuinely have feelings for just because they had money. No.
All right. So what's your take on this place life? Like city girls being taken to Lagos, being taken to Dubai. I'm asking because you come from a modeling background, and some of your peers fell into that trap. Is
it a trap?
I feel like it's a trap, because by then they were young.
Yeah.
Like 18, 19. Someone who nearly like 10,000 go and buy shoes.
Yeah.
Someone like a 12-inch wig.
I I don't know. I think, you know what they say?
We have like to show the boy in the building. Someone's up to the camera, bro. Someone's up to the camera.
And it's the fact that you're out there hiring. Is it because you're going?
Okay. No, just talk with people about to wrap it up. Talk to them, bro.
What should I say? Hey,
okay,
Gab City's boyfriend, I'm here with my sister. Love you long time. And
I think that we're all so different, and I honestly just respect like everybody's perspective and what they want to do in life. You know that saying, like, the man who knows it all knows that he knows nothing at all.
Yeah.
I feel like more of us should think that way and live that way. Traditionally marriages were transactional, or they were for status, or they were for political gain, or they were for whatever. This whole marrying for love thing is a very new concept, which is fine. I mean, I would like to marry for love. That's my personal goal. But if someone else looks at me and says, I want to marry for financial gain, or I want to marry for stability, or I want to marry for whatever, I don't necessarily think that there's something wrong with it. I think it's only wrong when people lie to each other or manipulate each other, or, you know, aren't transparent about what they want and what they want to gain out of being in a situation. So I think that, you know, women who want to be in transactional relationships, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And if the man knows that he's in a transactional relationship and he's consented to being in a transactional relationship, then that's wonderful and that's perfect for them. They're both gaining from being in the relationship. So perfect to me.
But it comes with consequences, it comes with sicknesses at the end of the day.
I don't think it does. I don't think that it comes with consequences, and I don't think that it comes with sicknesses. I think that doing anything in life irresponsibly comes with sicknesses and comes with consequences. If I get married for love and I'm in a happy marriage, but my husband is disloyal to me and he's unfaithful to me and he's lying to me, then that could come with consequences and that could come with sicknesses for me. Why? Because my husband is not being transparent with me, and he's not being honest with me, and he's manipulating me. So it's the same thing. The issue is very rarely the structure or the decision that people go into. It's people themselves not being true to a moral code and not being transparent and real with each other. If someone gets sick in a situation like that, it's because somebody is not being transparent and is not being safe. It's not because being in a transactional relationship is bad, negative, dangerous, whatever. It's that thing, you know what I mean? It's like saying, and the consequences, like, people love to talk about, oh, if you're in this kind of relationship, a man will beat you. But statistics show that domestic violence happens in all situations, like in all different kinds of situations. So really, we need to fix the root of the problem, which is just us, people, humans, and stop trying to blame or make things situational.
There you heard it, guys, from your big sister. People thought I was going to be asking about it's not that type of.
But you're asking now, you see?
Nah.
I knew what an interview cannot end. Wow.
Yeah, it's not that type of podcast, but yeah, you can just talk about it, bro. Like, yeah.
There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to talk about. I think that it's just every interview I do, people that own podcasts or interviews or whatever hear that person asking about it, and then they think, oh, let me also ask about it. So now it's just become a trend of asking. But I don't think that any one person can tell you the root even of that rumor or where it began, because there's nothing to that rumor.
The thing with me, I actually heard this thing today.
Yeah.
It was my first time to hear about it.
You see?
So for me, it's not that type of podcast, like all about building.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the first segment of the podcast we're talking about the consent culture.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we spoke about colorism, ethnicity, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we would like to have you again on the on the podcast. There's a whole lot of things that we should be talking about, because we're the future leaders. we're in our 30s now. I don't know how old you are, but we're in our 30s now.
I'm 21.
You're 21, and in the next 50 years.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm very proudly 31.
Yeah, and very soon we'll be the ones taking over, like in all these relevant offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be the authorities actually. So it's best to start having such conversations at a young age.
Definitely. You can call me Her Excellency in advance.
Our very first female president is sitting here. You should come back to this podcast in the next 20 years. Yeah.
I love, can I tell you something? Like, I love that I made a joke and you didn't skip a beat. You didn't take it as a joke. You're like, yes, absolutely. I see it.
Yeah.
I love that about you. Thank you. It was just a joke. I'm not interested in becoming president, but I love the fact that if I was, you'd be supportive.
Yeah. I get a Minister of Information.
But honorable. Okay.
Honorable. Yeah, specially elected.
Okay. I'll keep it in mind if ever.
Like, I'll come and share this with you.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Nature, bro. It was nice having you, bro.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. See you next time. We'll actually come to one of your workshops.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and we document it and stuff like that.
Awesome. You're definitely invited.
Cool stuff. Now you can look in the camera and tell them.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. If you meet me in person, don't be afraid to say hi.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, most guys are not hitting on you because they're scared of you.
That's not true. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
Why? I'm intimidating?
You're too beautiful.
Thank you. But that's sad then. So you're saying I'm single because I'm too beautiful?
They're scared of approaching you. Like, it's an assumption for every beautiful woman is taken.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you are 32 years of age and over, and you are ambitious and you have a stable job, holla at your girl. You never know. You never know.
Quite a commission.
I'm nice.
Quite a commission. Alright, cool stuff, guys.